Welcome. Everyone should be able to see us well, and hopefully we sound okay and everything like that.
Excellent. Welcome to the Stream of Truth. I am Dr. Tassel Faith Shanebrook,
And I'm Sean Kelly.
and today's topic is money and intimate partnerships.
Money.
Money, 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 money. So, uh, perhaps I'll just start by saying that this is an uncomfortable topic for me. Um, and what about you, Sean?
Um, yeah, money is a touchy subject for me to speak about for a multitude of reasons, I would say. Um, Basically, I still have, I think, some of the more societal sort of programmings or conditionings around money a little bit that are they're still kicking around my system, but I don't really believe in them. So I end up having very odd experiences when people talk to me about money generally, because I can't relate as much as I used to be able to, and then um, it's hard for me to yeah, it's just hard for me to relate, I think, in many ways. And then I have some of those, some of those things that uh, more negative structures, I guess, built around money and what money is and that type of thing. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say that it's challenging for me so much on its own. It's more challenging for me in relation to others and how I show up when they're talking about money, things like that. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm wondering for people tuning in what their biggest challenges are around money in their partnerships. And I'm wondering if sharing some of our challenges may hopefully just start to shine more light on these challenges, and just maybe in the talking about it and sharing about it, it can
Yeah,
provide at least some solidarity.
I realize what it is. My biggest issue with money is that people care so much about it. That's my biggest issue with it. People care so much about money all the time, um, and I don't know. Like on one level, I do of course understand the need for money, but on another level, I just feel that the passion is so misplaced, and I get uh, it's like how do I describe this to me? It's sort of like you know what? Maybe I won't get into it, but it's the biggest probably thing for me is that I have trouble relating now to money so much, and then everyone else seems to really really relate still. Not everyone else, but many people, and it just I guess I'm tired of it. I guess that's what it is. I'm tired of it being such a thing. Um, yeah, yeah. I guess that's it. I'm tired of money. I'm tired of currency in general. Yeah.
So maybe just backing up for a minute, um, between you and me, we appear, I guess, at times at least, to have some different orientations to money. And I would think that this is probably fairly common between couples. And maybe just to flesh this topic out, we could talk about how it's challenging in our relationship to have different orientations around money, and maybe what we are trying to do to create more harmony in that topic with each other.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so maybe I'll just share that this topic, it feels like it's hard to talk about between us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think maybe every other possible topic feels a lot easier. And we've talked about like so many vulnerable things and like quote unquote embarrassing things, and those all feel a lot
Yeah. I
easier.
guess we should say, let's just say to outline quickly, I'm broke, like dead broke. I've mentioned it a few times, I think, on the stream that I have no money at all, basically. Um, I'm sort of having to pay for my old house. Lost my job from COVID, and then started working on this stuff. And didn't want. I don't want to go get a job and not do this stuff. So, and then I'm paying for my house and all that stuff. These are just excuses. Um, but basically, Tassel's the only one that has any money right now. Um, as far as like who brings what money to the relationship, I have negative money right now, literally. So, and I don't care. I don't care about it. Really, the challenge is that it's difficult for Tassel, which means I have to care about it. I have to bring some sort of approach to it, and I don't want it to sound like I don't care that I'm spending her money. It's not like that. That part of it is a little challenging, I would say. Is that I'm used to being the provider, and I'm used to just having the money and buying what I want and need and stuff. So it's very weird for me to even be in a position where I can't really do that. That alone, just by itself, is weird. For me to have insufficient money is a whole new thing for me. I grew up, middle class, but not lacking. But I just wanted to, I guess, highlight that the whole situation is very new for me. The money concept for me, I don't care so much about money itself. I do care about balance and about, things being, I guess, seen equally. And, what I really don't want is something like money to create problems. Um, and so, one of the reasons that we didn't meet up as soon is because I didn't really have the money to fly out there, and I didn't want to ask her to pay for it either. So there's all these different dynamics to it for us. But the fact of the matter is that I'm broke. She has some money. Not like it's not like she's like flush with cash, but she's got a little bit of money to spend on us coming together and stuff. Um, and that's challenging. And so I think that's kind of what we're talking about today, and trying to do it transparently. Um, I think it's a shame that people, especially men, think that they have to pay for everything all the time, type thing. That they're and in our relationship there isn't really right now a balance. Like basically, Tassel's paying for most of everything. Um, and I think I'm okay with that, because in my intention and what I believe will happen, things will balance out over time. Um, and I'm not super concerned about it, but um, yeah, I just wanted to summarize, I guess, where we're at just quickly as far as finances go, so people know what kind of context they're working with as when they hear about our stuff.
So I just want to express that I'm so excited just to speak really transparently about this topic with you. And I just think everything you shared is amazing to be really transparent about it. And a couple of things I wanted to mention that stuck out for me is, first of all, I didn't ever know that part of the reason it sort of took so long for us to come together was that because you felt uncomfortable around money, like for us to meet for the first time. I that's the first time I heard that.
Yeah. Well, I had to get a passport, and I had to rush it, I think. But there were a few things that I had to do, and then buy the tickets, and then I also had to pay for all the stuff for the kids in the house. Um, Whoops. And I, yeah, basically didn't. I at the time I probably could have scrapped it together, but it would have been really tight, really really tight. Um, I didn't want to ask for money to come from you, so yeah, I was sort of in a weird kind of bind. I don't think I wanted to say that I didn't have enough money. It's not that I would hide it, but I didn't want to say, yeah. I don't. We hadn't really talked so much about that side of things yet, I think.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to say like, oh, by the way, I'm broke. Like, by the way, I'm living with my parents and I'm broke. Just so you know. That's like, this is not a way that traditionally men want to advertise themselves to a potential mate. Look what I can offer. Nothing. Right?
Not nothing, but yeah, in that sphere. Yeah.
I mean, like the classical things
Yes.
that men tend
Yes.
to offer, right?
Yes.
That,
Yes.
I'm not saying that, the whole thing is stupid. That's kind of my point, is the whole thing is kind of dumb to me. But I understand the feelings around money are real, and the issue for me is I'm having trouble. I have trouble relating to it, and I think I'm very frustrated that I said this to you, that this would happen this way. Before I even came, I said I didn't want to do this way, really. I didn't feel comfortable with it, that resentment would build, or a rift of some kind, or some problem would come up. And I did it too. Like, it's not like you forced anything, but I felt that this would eventually become a thing, because I knew that my stance on it, like, I'd be fine, but I didn't think you would be fine with everything. And it's okay that you're not, I guess. So I'm not trying to say we shouldn't have done anything, of course. I'm just trying to say, like, it's frustrating for me because I saw this coming eventually, and I have trouble with relating to the core of it now. I still understand it, but yeah. So it's frustrating for me, I think, because I felt like, I guess I thought we could avoid it if I was like, oh, is this going to happen? We're like, I don't think that'll happen. I kind of thought that would be enough, but it's obviously it's bigger than that, right? So, and I knew that going into this.
Well, for me, honestly, all I want to do is just talk about it. I just
Oh
want
yeah,
to
no,
be
no, I know.
able to talk about it. That's all I want. The actual outcome is much less. That's what I say about every topic we talk about. I just want to be able to freely talk about it. So yeah,
It's just
that's
awkward for me, I think, to like stand in front of the world and be like, look how broke I am. It's I don't care. It's just a weird little thing that I'm doing right now, I think.
yeah.
I think my human is going, what the frig is going on? What are we doing? Why am I
Yeah.
doing this? Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's causing, I think in my masculine orientation, these uncomfortable feelings tend to manifest as like a frustration.
Okay.
It is, I think, part of what's going on. It's not that there's a problem, or that, it's more that it feels like stuff is happening, and that's frustrating me, I think, is more like what it is. So it's not that there's actually an issue. It's difficult to describe, I guess, but Um, yeah,
Yeah. So just sort of backing up again about this topic of money and relationships, I think we're just maybe showing in our own raw transparency that this can be a tricky topic between couples.
yeah,
And I'll just say that it can feel like there are certain stories around men and money and around women and money. And if we're not inhabiting those stories, that there's something wrong or that we're less than or there's a failure there or something. Um, Obviously, a lot of pressure for men in our society to make money and be providers. That's seems like that's a big story in our culture.
yeah. And I think too, you and I both are in opposite scenarios than we're used to being in, right?
Yes.
Like I'm used to paying
Yes.
for everything. You're used to being paid for generally, right?
Yes.
In a relationship,
Yes.
I would say.
Yes.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think we're both also in already just in an uncomfortable space.
Yes.
And if I had more issues with money, I think it would be real problematic for me. Like I think it would be very uncomfortable for everyone if I was not past some of these things already, because the programming for men to be valued through their service through money and financial contributions to the family or to whatever is so huge
Yes.
that yeah, like I don't even know if the relationship would work basically in this way, because if I still held those things, which so um, I think that's why I don't, and why maybe you are working on this area a bit and having some discomfort and stuff, and why I don't as much is I think because if I did, I think it would be like over almost. I don't know that I'd be able to like get past all of my like wounding, you know? If
Mm-hmm.
if it was still there and I hadn't worked through that already, this situation would be way too triggering for me.
Yeah.
For most men, the situation that we described is very upsetting to the
Yeah.
sense of self, like the confidence and the all the
Yes.
value, whatever it is, the worth, self worth.
Yes.
Very,
Mm-hmm.
very, very detrimental to that if you're holding all these expectations on yourself around some of the societal pressures as a man anyway. So I can only speak for myself, but I know that like if we had met and came together like this a couple of years ago, and then let's say I just lost my job randomly and had no
Mm-hmm.
money, that would be a nightmare. Um, I don't think
Yeah.
I'd know how to do that. I don't think
Yeah.
I'd know how to be in that situation. So it's all perfect.
Yes.
And I think it's easy to get through it. I don't think there's like the way this part of I want to say this because maybe it'll help lighten it up a little bit for people. Um,
Yes. Let's lighten it up a little.
money when we so when I say stuff like I don't care about money, it's not that I don't understand its value. It's that I don't care about it. Like I don't. It's not real. It's not a thing. Not only is it not a thing, um, not only is it sort of it's paper that has no meaning to it. It's not for like a resource, right? It's not tied to a resource of any kind, and so it's a manifestation of the mind to assign value to stuff, right? And then that already is made up, so that's already distorted from the intrinsic value of all things. Um, and then we've put all this paper, and now instead of valuing the things or the people, the relationships or whatever, we're valuing this paper, this number, um, or this concept of currency, and it's second, so it's twice removed from reality, I guess, more or less, if not more than that. But and that's why I think it frustrates me so much. Is it's because I'm watching the world play make believe with this thing. It's like a toy the rest of the world wants to play with that I don't understand and don't like. So, but we can take a step back from it. Basically, the reason I'm saying this is because it's really not important. Like, my, and it's that I say this from a like a I have no money, but from I've had money most of my life, right? The the money itself is is just energy that comes in to assist with what you're doing at that time and what you're learning. Like, so if part of what you're learning is to have a bunch of money, then you'll have a bunch of money. Basically, people are pushing and fighting and resisting and all this, freaking out that they don't have enough money or they want more of it or whatever. But that doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So I, I, I don't. I have real trouble with the whole thing, and like I really want to advocate like just let go of money. Like, why is everyone freaking out about money? Um, it, you know, it the world doesn't work the way that money and the people who control money have uh, created in us. We're very complicit in this economic enslavement, and we don't need to be. It doesn't even work the way we think it works. Um, and so I have to advocate for like just not don't worry about it. Like, make money, sell stuff, do as you wish, but don't let the money like hold on to you. Or I mean, you whatever you're experiencing is perfect. I'm not trying to judge it. I'm just trying to say um it's it'll have to be let go of as a thing. It'll have to be because it won't it's not real. It's not real. So it won't last. So whether we get a lot of money or not, it's never enough. It'll never work for any type of real healing. Its use is a practical tool. That's all it is, a tool to do the work. Anything else, I don't know. And sometimes the work is to learn how to make money, though, right? Sometimes the work is learning how to make money. So I'm suggesting not that we shouldn't make money, just that we don't have to freak out about it. We don't have to worry about it, because it's not real. This was probably triggering for Tassel.
What I think, again, backing up to the topic today of money and intimate partnerships, to me at least, what I think is really helpful and really essential is for there to be space in the relationship for each person's orientation towards money. Some of what you said I resonated with. The biggest thing I would just say about money is whatever is your own orientation towards money and your own feelings about it and your own possible fears and your own possible desires is to honor that for each individual to honor their own relationship with money. Mm-hmm. And each one of us obviously is here on unique pathways around every topic, including money. Right. So for instance, my pathway around money in this incarnation may be very, very different from yours. And in other couples, it may be like that too. Maybe for some couples, their orientation around money is very similar.
Yeah.
But so I want to just back up to the topic at hand of how to basically talk about money in relationships. And I think the most important piece here is for there to be space within the relationship for each person to be able to speak their truth about money and anything else around money. And for that, for the other person to honor their partner's orientation around money.
Yeah, I think I was just trying to express why I have difficulty talking about it at all. It's in almost all situations I can try to put myself in the other people's position and try to relate a bit. But in this one, I have more trouble. I have more trouble with it relating.
Yeah, and I think that right there is a really important piece of this.
But
And
nobody
we have
relates to
this.
me either, so it's
So
fine. I'm just saying that I'm trying to express my difficulty relating to the topic, and other people's difficulty relating to me with this topic as
yes,
well, which I'm fine with it. But I'm not able to just get it. It's kind of like if I don't believe in ghosts, let's say, and you're pointing at a ghost that you see, and I don't believe in it, and you're like, that's scaring me. I can feel bad that you're scared of this ghost that you're seeing, but if I don't believe in ghosts, I'm I'm gonna say it's not real though, right? So it's regardless of me trying to like I accept it, and I said as well, like a lot of people are on pathways that are learning about money. Like I'm you know I that's but I'm trying to say that there doesn't have to be pain around it. That's all I'm trying to say. But anyway, everyone's path's different. It's perfect. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me. I I don't expect people to understand my side of it, because I don't think they can unless they've let go of money as a thing. Um, yeah.
yeah, so I'm just backing up to money and relationships and ways people can find harmony around it. And your point that you just said, I think, is a really helpful one to, can each person try to put themselves in the other person's shoes and try to see through their eyes about money and about every other topic. So, and we have this really wonderful relationship communication method called the Namaste Method. And this is a real foundation of that method about communicating. Can we try to as much as we can, just understand where the other person is coming from?
Mm-hmm.
We may hold a very, very different viewpoint, but is there a bridge there that we can make to the other person on this topic? So for me, at least, I think that's just really helpful around money and any other topic between a couple. Can there be an open communication about it? Can people express themselves freely about everything they're experiencing around it? And can that be heard? And can there be some harmony? Can there be some coming together around, well, okay, you have this orientation around money. I have this orientation around money. Is there a place we can meet as a couple? So I think that's the way I'm thinking of it. Like, Sean, you have your orientation around money. Tassel, I have my orientation. What is the orientation that we're going to bring in the relationship towards money?
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
So I think that's what you and I are working out right now in this talk and over these past months. Like, what is the relationship orientation towards money?
Okay. Yeah.
And it most likely is going to be a bit of a blend, I would assume, between the two.
Yeah.
The two.
I'm having a hard time getting my head around it. I don't know. I don't know how to participate in it. I don't believe in it. So I don't. I'm not sure how to pretend that I believe in it. You know what I mean? That's what it's feeling a little like, oh, come with me and pretend. That's what it feels like when we're trying to like harmonize. I don't believe in it, and you do, or you have a belief, whatever that is, but I don't believe in it, and to come together to then it it feels to me like I'm not being true to myself um, if I do that. That's like to me that's sort of like rebuilding stuff that I've already cleared that room in the house. I don't want to put stuff back in there in the finance room or the that room's tidy. As far as my peace goes, right? My inner world, I guess. I don't have issues with money, so why would I want to like create some? You know what I mean? That's what my I guess what my worry is with this type of this topic when the positions are so diametrically different. How do you harmonize? I don't know. I'm not sure that you always can, and I think part of it is like we have to be okay a little bit when we can't be on the same page, like agree to disagree type thing. It doesn't mean that like we're not on the same, like we have the same goals, right? So it doesn't change anything, and it's always been this way too.
When I say harmonize, I don't mean our viewpoints have to harmonize. I'm not saying your philosophical orientation towards money has to harmonize. I'm just
Okay.
saying how we actually deal with money between us and in our business. I think there needs to be harmony.
Right. Okay. So you're talking about the physical activities, the physical things that we're doing with the money.
Um, yeah, yeah. And the making of money and the sharing of money.
So I guess
And
what does harmony look like to you? And then I'll try to meet that. Because I don't have
um,
disharmony here. So really, I think this is just a matter of you setting out what is harmonious to you, and then I try to meet that. Um, I don't, I don't,
yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I thought you were talking about melding beliefs, but if you're talking about just practical stuff, then yeah,
I'm
whatever.
just talking about practical
Yeah,
stuff.
whatever you want. Um, sure.
So for me, the first practical aspect of harmony around money in our relationship would be being able to freely talk about it, as we're doing now. So this is, I think we're hitting the first step, which is great. And then for me, it would feel harmonious if we both seem to be partaking in the production, bringing in money to our relationship and our business.
Okay.
And that there was a bit of, not bit, that there was a shared sort of ownership of bringing in money to our relationship and our business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds lovely.
um pregnant pause. So just again, backing up to our topic to hopefully just help other people with this. I think what we're showing is this can be awkward to talk about. And what does seem to be helpful is talking about it in sort of as in a calm, loving way. And then maybe what we just did was, okay, is there some harmony within our relationship that we can bring to this topic? Yeah, What do you think just about this larger topic of people talking about this?
Yeah, I think you touched on it before when you talked about trying to approach it from understanding that people all have totally different relationships to money and different lessons they're learning with money. Also, money is one of those ones that will fall away sometimes and come back, depending on the cycle of life and what the plan is and where you're at. So like I said, I went through a lot of my life having a surplus, always being able to buy whatever I needed, not really going, not really going without, not being rich, but or loaded, but just having enough, by being able to buy extra things that certainly no one needed, but and provide for the kids and all that stuff. And then now I'm in a period where I was meant to be totally broke. I'm sure of it. I know that I was meant to let go of all of that pressure that I was feeling to earn all the money, and then all of the pain I was feeling for not having enough, even though I had plenty. I had perfect, I still didn't have enough, and it was never enough. So for me, my journey was very unique, and I'm only talking about mine to try and illustrate that, it can come up and down. And so, I explored having abundance in finances, and right now I'm exploring not having abundance in my finances. And, everyone's on their unique path. And, I think they have to decide how they orient themselves to money. And I think it's just the partner's job to do their best to get it as best they can. And then, you don't have, I think we get into so many conflicts in relationships because we think we have to agree all the time. Like, we think that we have to agree, and it's because we identify our beliefs as us. Usually, like, our egoic mind does that. And so when someone questions our belief, it feels like they're questioning us, more or less, right? It feels more personal than that, usually. And that's one of the big issues. And so, I think we have to learn to be okay not agreeing, but still being on the same team. Like, Tassel and I see things with money differently, but our goals are the same. Like, there's no difference. I still would like to earn money. Just because I don't care about money doesn't mean that I don't see a value in money coming in, for example. I just don't think about it the way other people think about it. That's all. And so, trying to recognize that, like, the issue itself, or whatever the topic is, money or whatever in the partnership, the topic itself is sort of not that important. It's more important that you come to deal with it together, I think.
Yes. Okay. That's a great soundbite. That's exactly how I feel. We don't have to agree on
No,
how we see money.
no.
And I hope that you can understand that I'm not trying to change your beliefs around money or
I don't think I
whatever.
could be changed as far
Well,
as
yeah, and
money goes anyway.
I have no interest in that at all.
No, I didn't figure you did.
I just, as you said, it's such a beautiful way to say it. Can we just come together around sort of the practical aspects of money and just come together as a team?
Yeah,
And yeah,
especially in practical things. Like, if you can say, I would like you to do this, please. Sure, I'll do it. Like, I just, it's the belief stuff that I get a little, particular about. The rest of it, like, whatever, yeah, I'll do whatever. It's sort of like, um, what I actually do. I'm not too worried about that. It's more, I care more how I'm thinking than what I'm doing. And so if I can do something to, like, help someone feel comfortable I'll do it. It doesn't make a difference to me. Um, but when I feel like I'm being told to think differently than I am, or to try to think a different way, that's when I get all weirded out by it. So if it's just practical stuff, then yeah, I mean, there almost doesn't even, for on my side, I don't even know if I need a discussion, but I'd like to understand where it's coming from, I guess. But you know, if it's just practical things, I just do whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I'm really happy that you shared that. I've never heard you quite explain yourself in that way. So I'm really happy to share that. And I'll just, because it feels really important, I'm going to use a little of the Imago method, active listening. What I heard you say, Sean, is that you are more than happy to be sort of asked, hey, I'd like you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
um, just to be told directly, in this case, what I would like you to do. And you don't have any problem with that. Um, it's it's uncomfortable if you had a feeling that I wanted you to change your belief or think differently about money, or probably about anything.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like I feel if we approach it from the talking place, like we're having a philosophical discussion. That's how
yeah.
I see it. I think right.
Hmm.
We're having a philosophical discussion right now about money. We're not
Yes.
talking so much about whether I do a thing or advertise or set up a marketing campaign or do, we're not talking about that at that level of like
Yeah.
tactical stuff. To me, we're talking like strategy, philosophy
Hmm.
type. And that is the realm for me of just thought. And so when we're talking, the way that I'm the way that my mind seems to work is like I'll listen to what you're saying and I'll hear your ideas and then I'll see how they fit in with mine and I'll pick and choose sort of like I like this stance but this doesn't really resonate and then I meld my own beliefs that way. And I think most of us kind of do this. Um, and so when we're talking philosophically but we disagree in the philosophy or not necessarily in the philosophy but we a lot of times we disagree in the philosophy, but really we're just doing different things, sort of. But so that can feel for me like when we keep talking, like you're trying to invite me to, take on some of your orientations, and I know that you're not doing that in that way, but the discussion at that level starts to become very clear to me we're not at the same space, so it becomes either is that okay or are we trying to bring someone am I trying to bring her over to my side, is that what we're doing, because I don't want to really do that either, right? So um, and I'm okay to just say it's fine to disagree as well, but if there's just practical stuff to do, if it's just like simple, then I'd rather just unless we do want to do the whole gambit of it, of the philosophical stuff, we could do that. Of course, I like to talk about these things, so I'm good with with all of it. But yeah, what it's boiling down to though is just some practical things to be done, like that, like could be put on a list. Like, yeah, it's to me it's no different than like asking me to get something at the grocery store and putting it on a shopping list. That's type of stuff I have
Yeah.
generally no qualms with.
Just to be really clear, I have no interest in talking more about our philosophical orientations around money. We've talked about it a lot.
Sorry
I
for
have
the
no
dogs. They're going bananas.
um, I have no interest in trying to change your philosophical orientation around money. I don't think I ever did. Um, yeah, I just only have an interest in the practicalities of money
Yeah, it's not
between
it's
us.
not that you do it. It's that I'm looking to expand my mind all the time. So when people talk to me, I wonder if their orientations are valuable for me to adopt or not. So that's how I frame lots of conversation when we're talking at that level, like, and if we're talking about philosophy of any kind, I'm looking for like wisdom, that I stuff that I haven't thought of, maybe, that type of thing. And if I find it, then I'm excited and I incorporate it, and I'm like, oh, I learned something new. Or if they say something that makes me question my own beliefs, that's just as great because it's the same thing. So it sort of just depends what level we're talking on for me. If we're talking at that higher level, then I'm more or less I'm assessing everything that's being said as, is this something I should adopt? Not that you're making me do that. I do that on my own, naturally, because that's how I determine what I believe, I guess. Um, so so it's almost like a side effect of speaking philosophically for me, that I'll feel like, once we start to get into any type of debating of like back and forth, where we're not like aligned. And that's the other thing too. It's harder for us because most things we tend to agree on.
Yeah, I think I can't think of another topic where it seems we have such a
Yeah.
different orientation towards. I think almost everything
We
else
have
we're on
some
the same page.
personality traits and stuff that are totally opposites, but as far as our, something like this, we don't have a lot. So we don't explore this realm as much, of where you
Mhm.
feel one way, I feel a different way, and we're supposed to come together, still with it. Um, and so I think that's kind of all this thing is, really, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think we maybe haven't really totally ever had a conversation just on the practical level.
Mm-mm.
I think
We haven't.
um, it's been more on this philosophical level.
Hmm.
Um, or I'll express I have some fears around money and
I
stuff like that.
Yeah, I should also say this
I'll
is really important, I think, for me and probably for some. When we're having philosophical discussions, they're like separate to me from the practical world almost. So, like, whatever we arrive at, it may not even trickle down into the practical world unless we make that connection for me. Like, I almost step back when we're talking philosophy. I almost step back from the world a bit. And so we may, like you could say stuff like, I would feel better if, you made more attempts, at making money, or something like that. And I'm like, that for me, that's very untangible, as far as like, what am I doing with that? What does that mean? Right. So that just sort of gets, that just sort of falls away from my mind, because there's no action item, or like a, I like keep my eyes open for opportunity. What's she talking about? But if there's like particular things that can be done that then connect back to the earlier issue that we're discussing, then it's so much easier for me to just go, it doesn't matter what I believe. She's asked that I do these three things, and she said that this would really help her. And as long as I'm in agreement, then why not do them? Right? So I see it like that. So whether I agree with the motives of the tasks, or not, I don't. It doesn't make much difference. You've asked me to do them, and so I'll do them to help and to serve. Right. So I think that's how I see it. And like, obviously, I reserve the right to decline any any requests that I don't agree with. But other than that, like, I don't know. Yeah, I think it would just be a lot simpler for me, if we do that type of thing. But some discussion sometimes around like, where this came from is probably warranted. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure the best way to handle it, but I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think this conversation has been amazing, and I really want to tip my hat to you because I think so much of what you shared is maybe not the easiest, most comfortable thing to share. And as you always do, you're so transparent and truthful and showing up just in your authenticity, which I just think is amazing.
Thank you.
Um, and I'm just grateful to just be able to talk freely with you about this topic and any other topic, and to do it on a public stage, no less. Um,
Yeah,
I just think is
this was probably
amazing.
the most uncomfortable one that I've done. I think probably.
If, for me too, this we talked before we got on, and I said how uncomfortable I felt about this doing this,
Yeah,
and then I also said, and it's probably exactly why it's so important to do it. And so, just backing up about that for a second, is the topics that are really uncomfortable for us in ourselves or in our relationships, boy, those are the topics we really want to lean into, because it's going to help so much to go there and sort these things out and feel whatever there is to feel, and see if your communication can handle it,
and do it live on YouTube.
and do it live on YouTube like we're doing.
That way too, if we ever have a disagreement about what was said, we have a recording.
We have a recording. And also, what's I think interesting about like doing it live like this is that, people we know may watch this and they may have their judgments around uh, our relationship or what has been said, and that's a thing.
It is a
Um,
thing. Yeah, that's a real thing. People
yeah,
people do that.
and and for me, I want to be totally transparent about everything,
And I
because
look I look kind of like the you know, I think in the relationship, especially when the finances are taken into account, uh, people look at Tassel and they wonder, what's she doing with this dude? And they look at me and they're like, "Holy, how did he manage that?" So I think the situation, on the surface, that way looks super weird. Um, and you know, um, yeah, it's
yeah,
tough.
and
It's tough because I know that people are gonna be like, this guy is like broke with living with his parents, and she's paying for stuff, and oh my god, like it sounds horrible. Even when I'm saying it, I'm like, ugh. And I sort of feel like that too. Like it's like kind of, but for me, it's like it's either that or I don't come. So it's like, but we're gonna make money and it'll be different. But the yeah the judgment, I think, is and my position in this whole thing. I don't I
yes,
don't
yes,
look
you're
very good here. As far as like if someone feels like being judgmental of me, this is probably a pretty easy one to hit on. Um, but I don't
yeah.
I don't care. I I really don't
So
care.
yeah, I just really want to honor that you have so transparently spoken about all of this. I think that's so courageous, and
Thank
I
you.
think it's beautiful, and I'm just grateful that you've shared so openly.
It's just
And
it's a good way to keep people away from me that will talk meanly to me, because they'll judge me before they meet me, and then they won't want to talk to me, and it's perfect.
and I want to say that our relationship in general has some interesting aspects to it. There's this money aspect is unusual. It's not the norm, maybe. Our age. So, okay, I'll quickly say, with money, typically, I don't know, typically it's more common for like a man to provide more money than the woman. It just typically, that's just more common. I think it's changing, but that's typically. And then typically it's more common if there is a big age difference for the woman to be the younger one. So we have these role reversals in our relationship. Um,
Yeah,
and this is like a whole nother topic, a whole nother
it's my
stream,
turn to
but
be a princess. It's my turn to be provided for, Tassel. I'm just kidding.
Um, well, and what's interesting is like my human can have trouble with the age difference that I'm so much older than you, because that's just not typical in our society. Like it's typically thought to, oh, it's better, quote unquote, to be for a man to be with a younger woman or whatever. So each of us has had a bit of a cross to bear that has
Mm-hmm.
probably felt uncomfortable for each of us. You around money, me around age. And then I also just want to say that, yeah, part of what has been challenging around the money issue is other people's judgments of all of this. And I just want to always stay in my guidance and in what I know is my soul's path. And I think this money topic around us is expanding me in a lot of different ways, including speaking about awkward topics. And so I want to let go of anyone else's judgment around anything to do with my life and just know I am on my path and I am doing my expansions and my initiations that my soul has laid out for me. And the money thing between us is one of those expansions and lessons and initiations. And yeah, so there's just a lot that can feel uncomfortable, especially around other people's opinions about all of this as well.
Yep. Yeah. And I think part of what I'm excited about is some of the judgments that arrive, whether they land on me or not, like whether I hear them or not. Um, I look forward to the day when the person sort of goes, "Oh, I had it wrong." That'll be fun. Um, but I think that offers, like, I think that in that way is something that we often don't realize that we're doing as people that are sort of hell bent, I guess, on sticking to our truth. We tend to get judged by others, and then they often tend to go, "Oh, it's fine. They're fine. They're not what I thought." And in that way, they're like they expand themselves through just our example, and that's one of the ways that we can serve is by let them judge, right? Like let them. I mean, I used to judge a lot. I get it, and it's fine. It's
Yeah,
what they do,
and I
and
and I think
it's all that judgment that brings them out of it, though. So
yeah,
it's
and I
perfect.
think and I
I don't mind.
think I think it's great to just be transparent that, oh, there are some things in our relationship that are tricky and that we are working out and that are not sort of perfect ideal. It's like a bit challenging. And to be able to just to be honest about that. And it's no one else's business but ours. It's not that we have to say that. I mean, we are saying it on YouTube in front of
Yeah.
people. But what I mean is this gets to a larger topic for me of just being real and authentic about my life in general, my individual consciousness that I don't have it all figured out in here at all. Yes, I'm a doctor of psychotherapy and I'm a mom and I'm a business owner. And maybe there's an invitation from society to put on a mask that I'm all together. I've got it all figured out. But that's not the case. I'm working through things like every other human here on earth. And I'm okay with that. And I'm going to be real and authentic about that in my
Yep.
own individual consciousness and then also in my relationship. Yeah, there's some things that we haven't quite totally figured out yet and are kind of stressful. And that's okay. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And if you want to judge that, that's your thing. But I'm okay. I'm okay with what's happening.
I think a lot of times too, um, we can forget that the other people don't, like whether it's the relationship or just what we're doing, right? The other people don't know what's going on in our head. Like they don't know they don't really know what's going on between us and the relationship. They don't know how we both talk about these things, what our intentions are, how we think the business is going to go forward. They don't know about any of these things. All they really know is that right now, Sean has no money and Tassel's paying for stuff, and that looks weird. Um, and
Yes, and they also don't know our soul's paths. They don't
right,
know my soul path. They don't know your soul path. They don't know
right.
that part of what's most likely happening is for me to speak up and for that type of thing. And so, yeah, so much judgment, so much judgment.
And they'll uh I wanted to use this as a just a little, I guess, point to notice that like we often will, like, people will say an idea and then people will be like, oh, I'm not sure about that because I saw this thing where this guy did that and then he died or something, right? Like just they're like, oh, but wait, fear, right? They do that, I think, and then sometimes we listen to them because we forget how sure we are about what we want or what we're doing or what our plan is, and then we trust them and they're wise and they're whatever they are, and they say some fear, and then we go, oh, is that true? Oh, and then it like jostles all their plans around, and I'd like to advocate for people to not let that happen so much, right? Like when people speak their fear, you can literally, especially if you're not asking for feedback. If you're asking for feedback and they're giving you feedback, it's a whole different ballgame. But if you're expressing your ideas or they're just out of nowhere just telling you that stuff you're doing isn't great or they don't like it, this is literally just your own resistance showing up. You can just ignore it, more or less. Just ignore them. Like you can respond to them, say thank you for your thing you said, um, and all that. But try not to, and you can listen to, is there any nugget of wisdom here? Like, but more or less, you can just ignore them.
Well, and
They don't know what they're talking about,
I
basically.
think sometimes what happens, I know this happens for me, is if someone says something and I get triggered, it's showing that I have that fear that they're talking about. It's in me. Otherwise, I wouldn't get triggered.
Right.
So in this whole topic of money and intimate partnerships, I want to really emphasize for each person to really honor whatever does arise for them around money,
Mm-hmm.
to honor any fears that come up, to honor any desires that come up, anything that's coming up, to honor it. Not to live in it if it doesn't overall feel resonant and aligned, but to honor the human's experience of money. And then you'll be able to somewhat clear integrate that on your own, and most likely the triggers wouldn't really happen so much. So just like sort of like a guidebook to this topic, honor your own feelings, honor your internal experience around money in every aspect. Communicate truthfully with your partner about what your whole orientation is around money. Hold space for your partner's orientation as well. And we've done a video on the Imago Method, and we've done a video on our method, which includes the Imago Method, but about communicating. And if you need a refresher on how to communicate in sort of a highest and best way, please watch our Namaste Method video. There's also one called Higher Conscious Communication. There's like, it's a two-part on the Namaste. And we're about to launch a recorded course on the Namaste Method, which is also really helpful. But the point being, it's really helpful to communicate about these things mm-hmm. in the highest and best way possible. These things are not going to go away. They're going to be there. So leaning in, leaning in, leaning in, leaning in.
Mm-hmm.
Even questions to your partner, such as, um, like, is there a helpful way for us to talk about this topic? What might be more comfortable for you if we talk about this topic? Just showing that you're considerate about topics that could be difficult for the other person, and just like setting a safe space, setting that safe space of listening to each other. And you said it really well, Sean. It's just, we can each hold different viewpoints around money or around anything, but can we come together in the practicality of actually dealing with it? Like, can we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, usually it's, I think, just remembering that we're on the same path already. Like, we're, at least for us, and I think for a lot of people that are in these types of situations or are having this issue, like, they're talking about it because they want to try to resolve it. They're intending on being together through it, right? So we're together through this challenge, I guess, is the best way to try and approach it.
Yes, that's a great way to start, I think, any conversation about
Yeah.
money or any, like, I feel we can do this. I want to be together with you on this. We can work this through together. Let's work this through as a team. In my training, in my doctorate in psychotherapy, one of my mentors, Michael White, who's the founder of narrative therapy, which is amazing, he uses this technique called externalization. Any issue between a couple, we just look at it as kind of over here. Here's the
Right.
problem
Yeah.
or the issue. Let's externalize the issue, and let's just be a team together to work through whatever this external issue is. So we don't have to, internalize it into our relationship.
And
Okay, there's this thing.
we can also remember that we created the issue together, even if it seems totally like one person is the real constructor. Both have agreed to participate in this thing, most likely. So, like,
Absolutely, 100%.
it's
Yes,
co-created, whatever it is. It's,
exactly. It's
you know,
co-created because there's expansions our soul is desiring us to have
yeah.
in this situation for
Like,
both of us.
even just something as simple as understanding that I knew Tassel's orientation to money was different than mine the whole time, and I still chose to be with her and all of this and experience, like, all of that with her. um she is as she is, and I chose her this way, right? So I created everything that happens with her is now my thing that I've created as well, with her. Anything that happens between us or somehow comes into our field together at any way, was created just by my simple agreement to be with her. And so if we can frame stuff like that, then whether our partner develops some type of, weird behavior, or like whatever it is, whatever the thing is, that's come up, you've co-created it, and you're both responsible for it. And then it's up to you guys how you want to traverse it. And if stuff comes up that you're like,
Yes.
I don't want to traverse this, then you're free not to, right? So you're always free to do as you wish. It's important to, like, I think, always remind ourselves that there aren't, like, all these rules that we seem to often hold ourselves by.
Yes, of course. Um, and at the same time, if we somewhat possibly prematurely exit
Totally.
an uncomfortable relationship because
Discomfort
of
doesn't
uncomfortable
mean
topics.
leave. Yeah.
Yeah, what might happen is that in another relationship, a similar situation or a parallel situation will come in because we haven't quite gone through the expansion yet.
Yep.
So it's a subtle balancing of that. It's like sometimes it is right to leave a relationship, but sometimes uncomfortable things come up,
Yeah.
and it's just an invitation for us to go through that expansion as
Yeah,
well.
I'd actually recommend, like, when discomfort comes up, try to sit in it a bit, like actually make an effort to explore it a bit, and try to see where it's coming from. Try not to focus on what the partner did or didn't do or whatever. Just try to, what is this that's coming up? Uh, and I think if you do that before, like, basically don't let the ego blame, throw shade at the partner. Don't go down that road.
Yeah.
If you go down that road, you'll get to a place where the discomfort is their fault, therefore I leave, or
Right.
I freak out on
Right.
them, or
Yes.
eventually it builds up, or who knows. But it's a bad place to go down that road. It's okay if you notice the mind like blaming them and then go, wait a second, no, it's not really, it doesn't really work like that. Like, I'm hurt because of my own sensitivities, and I may not agree with what they've done or said, or I may not, that's why I'm hurt, is because I'm uncomfortable with whatever's happened or not happened. But it's not their fault that I'm uncomfortable. It's not even my fault, but that's the best kind of way to, it's my fault, really. I created this discomfort in myself so that I could heal it. And if we can try to frame things like that, then we're gonna know better when it's like, oh no, that behavior is not for me. Like, we'll just know. We'll go, oh no, no, thank you, ma'am. Um,
Yeah.
and it'll be
And we
very
can,
clear. It'll be very easy, I think.
yeah. And
I
we
don't
can
even think we'll
always,
have people. Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting. I
no,
don't
it's
even
okay.
think we'll
Sorry.
have people that are not in congruence with us even show up in that way. Really, like when
Hmm.
we're holding a kind of high vibration and we know ourselves fairly well, and like, I don't think people that don't fit will. I don't think we'll be confused enough to allow them to fit in. Like, we'll just go, ooh. They'll do a behavior or they'll do something, and we'll just go, this is this doesn't feel so great. This is
Yeah.
this doesn't feel the way it should feel. Um,
And I just
that
want
type of
to
thing.
emphasize tuning into the guidance where your soul is directing you. The human may be feeling discomfort in the relationship, but you'll be able to tune in to your guidance. Where is my guidance leading me? When I somewhat separate a bit from the human discomfort, is my guidance leading me to all is well, stay where you are, see if you can work through this? Or your guidance may be like, no, it's time to maybe release the relationship. But yeah, the discomfort may just be something for you to work through and with your partner.
Yeah, I'll actually say the discomfort is always something that you are supposed to work through, and you're simply choosing, will I work through this now or not?
Yeah. And I meant there could also be discomfort that, oh, this relationship actually is not aligned for me.
Yeah. Like, oh, I
And
see what you're
and
saying.
and
Yeah,
yeah, that's all I meant.
yeah.
Yes.
I just meant,
Always your discomfort is to be worked through, but
yeah. But it doesn't mean you have
your
to be in a
guidance will,
relationship with the person. It's
yeah, your
can I
guidance will tell
accept
you.
can I accept them as they are? Can I forgive them
Yes.
for making me feel uncomfortable as well? Can I forgive them and accept them as they are, even though they just freaked out and threw their slushy at a stranger? Can I forgive them for that? And that type of stuff. Like, you're on your first date. Imagine that type of situation, and you're just like,
Right.
what is happening?
Yeah.
but yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, I guess, uh, whenever we have discomfort, it's an opportunity for us to accept it and forgive.
Yes.
What we do is a different thing, right? Like,
Yes.
we don't have to
Yes.
even say anything to accept and forgive. We don't even
And
have
I
to speak.
think one of the biggest realizations I've had in our relationship, and this is like a cornerstone of our Namaste method, is just because I, in the moment, feel uncomfortable around something does not mean anything is wrong with the relationship,
Or with you.
um, or with me. It means, oh, this is something for me to look at and sit with and move through. I love to say that our relationship is a dojo. It
Mm-hmm.
is a training ground for my consciousness
Mm-hmm.
and your consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also I wanted to say that you said something about following your guidance and stuff. The more we do that, the more it solidifies that connection with our guidance, the
Yes.
easier we can hear our guidance. It's sort of like our higher selves on the top of a mountain, like calling down to us, and we're only catching the echoes of their voice. And
Yeah.
we're trying to follow their guidance, but the closer we get, the more clear it comes through.
Yeah.
And our divine self, our God self or higher self is always just constantly staring at us, yelling down sort of guidance, right? That's kind of what's
Yeah.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
And also yelling down lovely things too. And,
Yeah.
if the more we try to tune into what that's saying and
Mm-hmm.
try to follow that, we'll end up following into very orchestrated, beautiful little synchronicities and paths that will reaffirm for us the power of doing this, and that our and will reassert our own truth as our divine self here now. And if we do that, then it becomes you don't even really have to check in so much. You have a better or a more dynamic, fluid kind of connection that's more static, like not static, but it's more solid or cemented into found. It's like a foundation of how you're approaching almost everything, and you can still fall out of it, but it's a sort of a process, a growth, and I think it just gets stronger and stronger. I don't think that caps out. I think it just gets stronger and stronger and better. And so, but the practice, yeah, like you said, just follow your guidance. Uh, Ignore humans and follow your guidance. That's literally like, hear them. When I say ignore, I just mean don't let them sway you.
Run whatever they say through your
Yeah. You
guidance.
sway
Filter
yourself.
it.
You
Yeah.
sway
Filter
yourself. It's up to
everything
you.
external through your
It's
own
all up to
guidance.
you. Let them
Yeah.
say what they want. They might be smart. They might be older than you. They might be wise. They might have taught you a lot of beautiful things. Uh, but pretend it's as if you've never met them and it's just a human saying some stuff. And it could be wise, but it could be nonsense. And if
Yeah.
there's a
Who
bunch of
knows?
fear in it, um, it's probably they're coming from a place of fear.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a wise approach to follow their fear.
Yeah. So perhaps should we wrap up here?
Yes, I guess we should. Yeah, 12:22. Uh,
12:22.
it's a good time to end.
A good time
12:22.
to end. So I just want to say overall, communicate. Communicate inside, honor your feelings, get your clarity, whatever your orientation is, and then communicate with your partner about money or any other topic.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
And if you enjoyed this video, it really helps if you like it, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel. And we also have a really amazing Patreon community with some super awesome offerings. A new offering from Sean called Metaphysical Monthly,
Yeah,
where you can. Do you want to explain it?
sure. Yeah. So basically, I'm thinking maybe we'll talk about it more in another thing because we waited to all the
Yeah.
way to the end, maybe on Friday or something. But
Yeah.
we'll be doing I'm thinking of it as like almost like a tea, sort of coffee time. It's at lunch. We're gonna do it at a lunchtime, so it'll be like a tea time type sit around Zoom and discuss metaphysical concepts. And so basically, any Patreon member can join, and I think the probably open it to the YouTube members as well. So basically, if you're a YouTube member or Patreon member, you'll be able to join and participate as much as you want to. They'll be recorded and put up on YouTube for free, but you do have to be a member to participate. But you'll be able to watch it after for free. So that way, I can kind of do both and maybe get myself a little bit of that money, right? um, just a little bit. But Yeah, we'll be doing that, and I think it'll be fun. Like, I think what I'm hoping to get is varied questions about like just confusing metaphysical concepts, things that people are having trouble getting around, questions about maybe religion, or anything esoteric, magic, spirituality, whatever it is. And if I have some offerings and that I can share in there, that's what we'll be doing primarily. And then it may end up being more of a like circle talking session. That's sort of how I see it unfolding.
Yay. And just to share, Jamie says, yay, can't wait.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be fun. I look forward to Jamie and Joe, and especially I know Jamie has tons of her own experiences, and Joe's got tons of experiences with sort of paranormal stuff, a little bit different, I think, than some of my experiences. And so it'd be really interesting. I think it'll be fun regardless, and
Yeah. And just the practicalities of this membership to our Patreon community is as low as $5 a month. And for $5 a month, you can join in on these amazing metaphysical gatherings with Sean.
yeah,
So I think it's an amazing deal.
yeah. And actually, joining on YouTube is only $2.99, but
Ah,
you don't get the other benefits from Patreon. So
okay.
yeah, so yeah, exactly. So it's I'd definitely recommend people check it out, and I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you all so much. So many blessings for you and any communication around money with your partner. Sending you so much love.
Bye.
Bye.